Hey, the podcast that you're about to see, I posted it this morning. I took it down. I took it off YouTube because I got to do some editing. I played a couple of messages, voice calls from police officers. One police officer heard the message and said, "Hey man, would you mind? I didn't mean for you to air it." And I felt bad. Nothing in my mind, he said, was negative or wrong. It was just complimenting me, telling me I'm bang on and thanking me for what I had done. And he was supporting that Halifax member that got suspended. The other police officer, I didn't hear from him, but I just took it down. I guess I should have said, and usually I do say, when you call the hotline number, tell me if you don't want me to play it over the air. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have. I probably shouldn't have played it. So that's why I had to take it down. I'm about to put it back up. I don't know how I'm going to. I got to take out that part of those two police officers, but I want to leave the part in of me responding to their questions. So I'm going to figure that out. Enjoy the podcast again.
COVID-19 vaccines and you.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Clinton Jaws here, guys. I try to get going. I'm a slow starter on these things. Testing. That doesn't sound loud enough. Testing. I guess it is. Sometimes I do these things and I forget to hit record, so I'm really paranoid. Anyway, I'm a slow starter with these podcasts, so I listen to some Miley Cyrus every time to try to get myself going. It was my birthday. It was my birthday yesterday. I don't even know why I'm going to talk about this, and I don't want anybody saying happy birthday to me. Don't say happy birthday. I don't like it. I don't like birthdays. And I'm just going to turn this up a tweak because I can't hear myself. Oh, that's down. Good start. No, that's down. It was my birthday yesterday, and I'm not saying this because I want you to say happy birthday to me. I hate it. I hate it when people say happy birthday. There's nothing happy about it. I don't look forward to it. I wish there was no birthdays. I don't want to have another birthday. I don't want to have a birthday next year. I don't want my birthday to be I don't want that day to hit. I don't want to get older. The whole thing grosses me out. The phone calls. People, I have to answer the phone. I see my phone ringing and I got to answer it. And I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, happy birthday. And then I got to go, oh, thank you. Thank you. It's so fake and so phony. I won't say that. I was going to say something. I'm not going to say it. Really, the person you should be calling is my mother. She gave birth to me, right? Not me. Not me. And I can't stand it when I'm on Facebook. And I'm sorry about Facebook. I have another Facebook account. And 6 days ago, it said it was my birthday, and a bunch of people are wishing me a birthday. Happy birthday, and it wasn't my birthday. I have a fake year there, too, I think. And I'm not 50, okay? I'm in my 40s. I know you're probably thinking I'm 50. It's the job that makes me look... It was the job that makes me look this way now. But I'm in my 40s. And I lost my train of thought. I don't know why anybody's happy. If you're 10, you're happy. It's your birthday. If you're 5, you're really happy. You get presents and stuff, and you don't want to get older when you hit 40. And what makes me really sick is when people advertise on Facebook that it's their birthday today, and everybody says happy birthday. And then that person, the author of their Facebook account, goes on and goes, "Thank you, everybody, for all your birthday wishes." And it just grosses me out. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. Never will be. So don't say happy birthday to me, okay? And I'm sorry if I didn't pick up the phone. I just don't want to hear it. Happy birthday. Yesterday, the wife comes home. She comes home from work. She's a nurse. And I tell her, I'm going to go down, I'm going to get some steaks because it's my birthday. And she tells me, well, if you're going to the grocery store, can you pick yourself up a birthday cake? Yeah. So I go to the grocery store and I buy myself a birthday cake. You believe it? And the cashier is like, "Oh, it's somebody's birthday." I'm like, "Yeah, it's mine. It's my birthday." And I know she thought I lived alone and I was going to have a celebration by myself. Okay, enough about birthdays. I'm older. I'm dumber, actually. I find that I'm actually dumber as I age. I'm wiser. See this ice? I got to tell you guys something about this, okay? You hear this? That's driving people crazy. I had no idea. Nobody told me. I'm on Facebook, and I'm part of this RCMP Facebook group. I think it's called RCMP Applicants. I don't know for sure. I think that's what it's called. And they're talking about me on there, about my ice. So I got to be careful with my ice. I'm going to show it to you guys. By the way, I got a lot of shit to talk about today. A lot of stuff. You're going to want to hear it. But, yeah, I open up the Facebook and this Megan Elizabeth, they're talking about, "I love his videos, but it drives me absolutely nuts listening to the ice clinking around in his glass every time he takes a sip of his drink in most of his recordings." Jesus. I didn't know. I didn't know this was a thing. Ooh, see? You probably heard it there. I didn't know you can hear my ice. I think you can still... Yeah, it does make noise. And then somebody writes back. What did they say? Jesse Mercer says, "Megan Elizabeth, ha ha ha, me too." And then Megan Elizabeth says, "Jesse, thank goodness. I'm not the only one. I was watching the other day, and every time I saw him reach for his glass, I quickly muted it and then unmuted it when the glass was safely back on the desk and he was back to talking." And Jesse goes, "Ha ha ha. Good God." So I wrote back, of course. I'm like, "Jesus Christ, okay, I'll cool it with the ice. Ha ha ha." I don't know why I said ha ha ha. Then Megan, "Clinton, I think you need to check with your viewers." Then Cody, Babe Chuck. He has my back. He goes, "Megan Elizabeth, the ice clinking makes him." Okay. I'll take it easy with I'll edit out the part where I'm about to take a sip, like right now. Okay. Let's take a call. And let's get into this. And thanks for subscribing if you haven't yet. Click that little thingy dingy, and it makes me feel good when you guys actually subscribe to my channel. Makes me think that people are actually listening to me. Okay, what's this dude got to say?
Hey, Clint, Mark here in Kamloops. Love the podcast. Keep it up.
Mark in Kamloops. Thanks for calling, bud.
Couple ideas for you.
He's got some ideas for me. Shoot. I like ideas, by the way, guys. And why don't you call the hotline number more? 604-330-2512. And thank you for saying your first name, Mark. What's up?
Maybe do a show on your sidearm. I guess it's issued to you guys in Depot and then stays with you.
Depot. Mark. Okay. It's Depot, not Depot. Why do people call it depot.
Your whole career. Anyways, what happens afterwards? Do they destroy it? Do you have the option to buy it? Does it get reissued? And we do a show on the
Anyways, you ask. Okay. I'll finish it.
polygraph.
Okay, I'll do
And what that's all
polygraph.
about.
Yeah.
The PEP, the PEP.
Okay.
Anyways, looking forward to your next podcast. Keep it up.
Thanks, dude, and thanks for calling. And I will do something on the pre-employment polygraph. I have done a little thing in it. If you sift through my stuff, you'll see it. The gun, the RCMP gun. I got to tell you, to be honest, one of the happiest days of my life was when they gave me the gun at Depot. They gave me the gun, and I was just... I've never had a gun before. I never owned a gun before. I don't own it, though. Guess what? You don't own it. But it was a really happy day at Depot when they get... I don't even know what to say about this. I'm attached to this gun my entire career. Oddly form a bond with the gun. How is that possible? I don't know. But I miss my gun. I miss it. Every time you're working, your hands are on the gun. Like you're fondling that gun all shift long. It becomes a part of you. It's attached to your waist. When I retire, I have to give my gun back. And that just seems insane to me. Really, I wanted to stick it up somebody's, but I had to give it away. Just take my gun. They don't let you keep it. And I don't know what happens to the gun after that. I don't want to know. It's a sad moment when you turn in your badge and your gun. And it makes no sense to me. That's my gun. I'm a .250 shot. I'm a deadly shot. If you want one person to have a gun, it's me. How many times I practiced with that gun? Use of force? I knew it inside and out? You want me to have a gun. Why they don't let retired members keep their gun, I don't know. It seems really, really goofy. I'm getting sentimental over my gun. How goofy. That doesn't even make sense. I miss it. Okay? There should be a rule that retired members get to keep their gun. If they're in good standing, why wouldn't you? I don't know. I guess that's all I'm going to say about the gun. I don't know where it is. I don't want to know where it is. Union, you need to change that rule. And I'm not a big fan of guns. I'm not a gun guy. Because they make it impossible in Canada to, have a pistol. It's not like I'd be able to throw it in my car easily and just drive down to the range and shoot it. I'm getting moist. You know what I mean? Now I'm pissed off. Okay, I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's try this guy. This is the part I edit. I edit this call. Hey, Clint, how you doing, man? I'm a police officer. This is stupid. Thanks for calling, dude. I just want to say, Clint, I've never heard your name before. And I've never watched your podcast. Nobody has. Nobody. I'm not suggested to anybody, really. The only way you're going to hear me is if you find me on Facebook. If somebody... And thank you for putting me on Facebook, guys. That's how I get noticed, when somebody throws me on Facebook. Because right now, YouTube, they don't like me swearing. They don't like what I say. Maybe it has to do with more than that, okay? I got to be better at what I do, okay? I take blame on that, but sorry, I cut you off. That Halifax cop, Clinton, he did everything right. And Clint, you are bang on. And you got nice tits. Thanks, dude. I'm not always bang on, but usually I am. And it's because I used to be a cop, so I put myself in the in his shoes. He shows up. He shows up to the call. He's got a weapons call. It doesn't even matter if it's a weapons call. I don't even know if it was a weapons call. It was a call. Probably something to do with a weapon, right? He gets information that there's something to do with a weapon. He shows up to the call. Pulls up, sees a few guys, 3 or 4 guys. Sees a vehicle, probably runs the plate. I'm just guessing. Probably gets some information, more information. Walks over to talk to the guy and takes a peek in the truck. I don't know if he's seen anything. It looked like it had tinted windows. Probably didn't. But he has reason to believe in his head, weapons. Maybe he knew the guy. Maybe he recognized the guy, right? There's a lot of things going on. Doesn't even matter. He knew that he had to pull his gun out because he wants to go home to his family. And you have every right to do that. He was fully justified, I know it for a fact, to pull out his gun. And when he initially comes out of his car, he says something like, "Hey guys." He thought he'd try that approach, right? The other people are responding, but this one guy is not responding. And he tells him to put his hands up in the air, right? Well, he's not really doing it. So he's going to change it up. He's going to change his verbal into an aggressive verbal and raise his voice. Yell at him a bit. Well, that's not working. Kind of, but not really. Now he's walking away from me. He's planning his escape. Now, as a cop, I'm thinking, if I'm there, I'm going to say anything I want to say. And it doesn't matter what comes out of my mouth because now it's scary. It's a scary situation. I'm scared. I'm concerned. His behavior's disgusting. So maybe I tell him, "Hey man, if you don't stop, I'm going to put some lead in your body, and it's going to be a lot of lead." What's wrong with that? That's policing. He's using tools, de-escalation tools. He started soft, went to hard. You say whatever you have to say in that circumstance. It doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. And a lot of people thought, "Oh, I'll shoot you for an effing laugh." Whatever. And a lot of people he didn't say that. He said, "I'm going to fill you with effing lead." Something like that. But even if he said, "I'll shoot you for an effing laugh," okay. But he didn't say it. You can't blame a cop that is engaged in that high-risk situation. You can't blame him for whatever comes out of his mouth. You just can't. Their studies have shown you cannot blame a cop for talking that way. A lot of civilians would have shot. Even the guy on the video thought he was shooting because he was expecting him to shoot.
Oh, they're shooting.
A lot of civilians would have shot at that moment. And I don't know. So what now? It's hard not to talk about, but the boss comes out, the Chief Kins. He comes out. Who's this guy? Like, what is this guy? Says it's totally unacceptable. Basically calls the cop racist. By not saying it, he's saying that the cop is racist. Do you remember this kid that sued CNN and other outlets and journalists? He got millions of dollars. Now, if I'm that cop sitting at home, because he's basically suspended for doing nothing wrong, and he's going to be vindicated, guaranteed. But I am going to sue somebody's ass off. You've ruined my credibility, my reputation. You expect me to walk around town knowing that people think I'm a racist? Because the police boss basically called you racist? The mayor, the premier. It was a knee-jerk reaction by his boss. And now this cop is suffering the consequences sitting at home. Reputation damaged. journalists agreeing that it was systemically racist what he did. Insane. And I hope he sues everyone. And I hope you make millions and millions of dollars because you deserve it. You deserve it. It was wrong. It's going to be known that it was wrong. I promise you. They're going to come out and say it was wrong. He's going to be completely vindicated. And how great is it that his buddy that knew the cop calls this show, if we're calling it a show. How nice is that? Like, talk about support. That's awesome. I know a lot of members in the RCMP that wouldn't do that. So the fact that Halifax Police is backing you, it's great. It really is. It's great. And I kind of went off there. There are a lot of tweets that are being deleted right now. When that extra long video came out, and if I'm that cop sitting at home, I am saving and I am recording everything that was said about me. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking pictures of everything. I'm recording every word that's said badly about me. Talk about a case he's going to have. It's beautiful, actually. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I'm joking around. It's just jokes. I'll cool it with the ice. I had to do that, though. Sorry, Marnie. Whatever your name was. I don't know. Let's take another call. Why am I laughing? Clint, I appreciate the video. It's nice to hear a voice saying the things that I want to say, but I can't say because I'm not allowed. And why is that, hey? Control, right? How do you control somebody? You control somebody with fear. And that's what all police forces have done, especially the RCMP. You can't say nothing. You're going to get a code of conduct. They control you with fear. It is BS that you can't say anything. But maybe you can. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe you actually can. You're held to a higher standard. Now, maybe it's time to start saying stuff. And I'm glad you're calling. It takes guts to even call here. But really, does it? Because he's not going to get in trouble for calling me. There's no way. Well, I shouldn't say that. They suspended this other guy for doing a great job. I'm not going to tell you where I work, but I got a couple of Police Act charges against me right now. He's got a couple of Police Act charges sitting in front of him right now, and who doesn't in Halifax? It seems like everybody does. Being a cop in Halifax, that's scary shit. If I'm a cop in Halifax, I think I'm going to start my shift and just answer calls. I'm not going to be proactive. Why would I be proactive? Why would I want to get in trouble? I'm not allowed to pull my gun out. I'm not allowed to say things. I'm not allowed to protect myself. And that's exactly what Chief Kins has done. He's made it unsafe. He's given the power to the bad guy. And it's hard for me to explain this. I don't even know if I should go down this road, but why would I pull my gun out? Why would I instigate crime? Why wouldn't I just drive by crime? He's punishing everybody for silly things. So if I'm working there, this is what I'm thinking. Like, holy fuck. I'm going to hop in my cop car and hope I don't get a call. And I'm certainly not going to try to find some crime. I'm going to get punished. My career's going to be over. I'm going to get police charges against me. And what does this do to a cop? Cop's thinking, a cop's mentality. You go to a call now, right? He's made everybody unsafe, this boss. I don't want to pull my gun out. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get suspended. I'm going to keep my gun in. And what does that do to you? You have a higher chance of being killed. But we're here to protect the bad guy. Support the bad guy, not the good guys.
So
I don't know if you're aware of this, Clint, but everybody's talking, and everyone agrees that you're the sexiest bitch on YouTube right now. Thanks, dude. And that feels good. That feels good to hear. Just being honest. The boss, the chief, has made every Halifax police officer scared to do their job, scared to pull their firearm. And that makes every cop unsafe. Sometimes I come on here and I don't say things properly because I don't know how to talk. But it's not only that I don't know how to talk. Okay. I'm going to tell you guys something. I got a message from Steve Mills. It was a great message, and I'm not putting down Steve Mills. Sounds like a kick-ass dude. I'm not putting him down. He wrote me a big, long message saying, man, this is great. I love what you're doing, Clint. Good stuff. I liked your blog right up until your last comments. He's talking about one of my videos that I did that had to do with that cop. I liked your blog right up until your last comments regarding supervisors. Not sure what your experience is with such, but as a former staff sergeant, I take exception to lumping all good in with the bad. It smacks of one bad police officer means all are bad. Not true, as you know, for the record. Out here on the best coast, we staffs run the operational component of the force. Fact is, in the 8 years before I retired, I attended and directed more high-risk events than I care to remember. I chat with 10 good buddies, all of whom were staffs in H and elsewhere, and all who have similar experiences. None of us minded getting our hands dirty, and we did on a daily basis. Do not leave this video right now, okay, guys? I want to say something. I know this is boring for you, but just listen to this. I have no idea how things work out west, but I'm guessing there are more good quality folks than bad, of course. So that is my rant. Look at Clinton. You are doing a good job, but just a little piece of advice would be don't let your message be colored by rhetoric. I can't speak, guys. Is it rhetoric? Rhetoric, I think it is. Okay. Thank you for the message. It was actually a nice message. He left his number if you ever want to talk. And I'm never going to knock anybody for telling me that they don't like what I said. Go ahead. Do it. But I think I was a little bit misunderstood. I guess, and I don't really fully remember, but I might have said something about supervisors stay in the office. They don't get out of the office. Like, why don't you get your ass out of the chair and on the road and help us out? Instead of just sitting there and talking on the radio. And I maybe I said something about sergeants, staff sergeants, inspectors being like that. I know there's good staff sergeants, and there are. Of course there are. That's not what... I didn't mean it that way. I wasn't trying to lump... Shit, Heidi Pete's dad is Davy Pete. He was a staff sergeant, and I bet you he was unbelievable at it. I've seen staff sergeants that were good. Rarely. Okay. I shouldn't have said that. This guy is good. I want to work for this guy. Of course, staff sergeants and sergeants exist in the policing world that are unbelievable, that go out on the road and get their hands dirty. I had a corporal in Duncan that would do that. We'd be eating at Bravo Papa, and he would know that we're eating there. And if a call came in, domestic, whatever, didn't matter, Brad would take it. And I love that's what I learned from him. And I knew if I ever did that job, that's what I'm going to do. And of course, there's staff sergeants out there that do that, like Steve Mills. But when I'm doing my podcast, sometimes I visualize myself in the moment. I'm in Port Alberni, I'm in Port Alberni and I'm visualizing the moment, so I react to the moment. It's not going to come out perfectly. And that's what they did in Port Alberni. A lot of the corporals didn't even leave. The watch commanders wouldn't even hit the road. Barely. Only if they had to go to a sudden death. The sergeant. Never seen him on the road. The staff sergeant. Never seen him on the road. So I'm just talking from my experience. It doesn't mean that they're all like that. The inspector, forget it. He's walking around with no gun. And they want me to talk on the radio constantly to give them a blow by blow. And I was just saying, get your ass off the seat and come down. You too scared to come down? Yeah, they were. And that's what it comes down to. Laziness and being too scared to come down to the call. And my point was, I don't care if you're a chief, if you're chief kins, if you're a sergeant, staff sergeant, inspector, that doesn't give you a right to stay in the office. Why wouldn't you come down and help out your members? You're experienced, right? You know your stuff, right? Don't shy away from it. Don't be scared about it. Come on down and do it. In the majority of the places that I worked at, they never left the office. There was a couple of exceptions. If you want me to talk about the exceptions, I will, but that wasn't my point. The majority, and I guess, you know what? I guess they do things in the West differently. Because, edit. I don't know. My experience is, Steve, I know you're a good guy and you're probably a great boss and there's thousands of you. Thousands. And, well, I'll tell you something. The reason why bosses don't leave the office is because they're taught that way. When I went to Port Alberni, I wanted to make a huge difference. I was the watch commander in Port Alberni. I shouldn't say this. I went there with a good attitude. I'm going to kick ass and I'm really going to help the members. Just like Brad helped us. So I'm like, I'm going to insert myself as a member. Hey, I was good at prime. I was good at paperwork. It took me minutes. I'd do a little bit before I'd hit the road. A little bit in the middle. A little bit at the end. Our queue was the best queue in the entire police station. So I started taking files. I was taking files to help out the guys so they could clean up their queue, clean up their files, clean up their investigations. And the inspector back in 2015 gave me shit. He said, Clint, he sent me an email, said, Clint, that's not your role. You're taking as many files as the members. He kiboshed what I was trying to do. He's teaching me. He said, your role's in the office. Why would I sit around the office when I got nothing to do? Why wouldn't I go out and help my guys? You know what I mean? My last assessment with the RCMP, the sergeant. Port Alberni, salmon capital of the world. The busiest day in Port Alberni is Labor Day weekend. It's a salmon derby. Salmon derby. We're working that weekend. We have a guy in for overtime. Some dumbass in for overtime, okay? I'm getting heated. He comes in for overtime. I know it's the busiest day. I grew up in this town. All my life I went to the salmon derby. During the salmon derby weekend, we get auxiliaries because there's a huge festival at night with beer gardens. We get auxiliaries that come to this festival to make sure that things don't get out of hand. I know it's the biggest night of the year. I know I need to be out on the road, officer presence. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. Just be out. Why would I hide in the office? And that was my point. A lot of these bosses hide in the office. So I go out all night. I go to a couple of files, check up on the members, see if they're doing okay. I do a bunch of bar checks, maybe a couple of probation checks. I go to the Salmon Festival. I do a walkthrough. I talk to people. I even seen the inspector with his family. Nodded at me as he walked by me. My sergeant starts the next day. He's working for some reason. I don't know why. But the constable says to him,
I didn't see Jaws all night.
He didn't see me all night. My sergeant can't fathom that. He can't believe it. What do you mean? What do you he was out on the road all night. So he wrote it in my assessment. Never spoke to me about it ever, and just writes it in my assessment. What I had done on that weekend. I was punished for being out and about. Do you fucking believe it? True story. I never spoke to him about it again. I retired shortly after. But punishes me. And I remember it being midnight. And I'm thinking, why are they in the office, in the lunchroom, watching TV and eating on the biggest night of the year? And the guy that's out on the road gets shit on. I worked my ass off that night. I did a good job that night. Nah. And that's the thing, right? How many times, and I don't want to whine, but how many times do you do a good job just like this Halifax cop did, and it doesn't get noticed? It's actually you get in trouble for it. You get in trouble for good work. For doing a good job. It's insane. It's insane. It doesn't have to be that way. One last point before I get out of here. He says, don't let your message, and by the way, I love everything that you wrote, okay? This is a discussion. This is not an argument. Don't let your message be clouded by rhetoric. He's saying that he liked my message up until what I said. And that's fine. That's fine. And he wants me to, I feel like I'm back at work. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Steve. He wants me to do it a different way. And he doesn't want me to cloud my message, but I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna sit here and fail my ass off. And it feels good. I'm gonna say things that are wrong, and I'm gonna wish that I didn't say them. I will no longer fear failure. Because if I start fearing, if I start doing what you want me to do, I'm not going to say what I want to say. Because I'm going to fear that I'm offending somebody, that I'm failing. There's so many things that I just danced. I sang a song before this podcast. That's probably failure, but I don't give a rat's ass. I will no longer. Do you know how great it is when you retire? You no longer have that fear of failing. I wasn't allowed to fail as a cop. They didn't let me fail as a cop. You weren't allowed to fail as a cop. Isn't that sick, Steve? That when you were a cop, you were always scared of failure because they wouldn't allow you to fail? Why don't they allow you to fail? Is that such a bad thing? Do you know how many great cops there would be if you allowed failure? But you don't allow examples everywhere, right? So I no longer have the fear of failure, and I'm not going to run my podcast that way. Because if I do, that changes me. So, yeah, I'm going to fail. And I'm going to say things that are wrong, like really wrong. Whatever. You know what I mean? I don't care anymore. I don't care. I ran around my entire career feeling scared of failure, feeling scared of making a mistake. Aren't you tired of that? Going to work, knowing you can't fail. I probably failed this podcast, but I'll learn from it. I'll probably review it and go, like, there's a lot of times I do. I review a podcast and I'm like, there's times I finish a podcast and I review it and I go, oh, I didn't mean to say it like that. I got to edited that part out. I shouldn't have put that. I'll actually say it and I'll be like, no, I didn't mean that. I'm going to say things that are wrong. But if you want to watch people talk right, people who are safe with their words, watch the media. You know what I mean? This is a podcast. I'm going to drink a wine with some ice. And I'm going to fail. And I'm going to say shit wrongly. It's just the way it is. And I deserve that. For feeling the way I did when I was a cop. Okay, I think that's it. Call the hotline, guys. 604-330-2512. Subscribe to my channel. Go on my Facebook and my Twitter. I know they don't look all that good when you go on Facebook and my Twitter. It's kind of empty. But I'm going to fill it up. I'm going to get into this. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Just kidding.